chasing down the 5-time defending champion Phillies and capturing the NL East crown. This season, they are the Hunted, considered by many World Series favorites. An ideal mix of talent, youth, experience, power, and speed. What will it take to deliver on expectations and bring a championship to a title-starved town? The 2013 season kicks off in front of a sold-out house, opening day from our nation's capital. Well, last night Houston was very cool, and today Cincinnati always gets its traditional opener. But where would you rather see heroes line up and a big flag unfurled than Washington, D.C.? Welcome to Nationals Park, year 9 for the Nats. Bob and FP back our 3rd year together. Good to be back with you, buddy. And you're embracing this whole expectations thing. That doesn't bother you at all, does it?
No, I mean, as a former player, everybody talking about the big expectations for the Nationals this year, the target on their back. As a player, you have to embrace that. That's a good thing. It means your team is good. So, talking to those guys, see how loose and confident they were in spring training. Bring it on. Let's go.
All right. What I'm embracing is a big horse about to be let out of the pen, and that's Steven Strasburg. No restraints this year. He can start to let it hang out today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key for him today is not being overexcited. Sometimes adrenaline has a way of messing up your mechanics. So we'll watch him early, keeping the ball down the strike zone. He's had a nice spring training, throwing that first pitch curveball for a strike, preventing the other team from getting on that first pitch fastball. The changeup, which he used a lot as a wipeout pitch last year, he's been throwing it for a strike behind in the count. So look out if he adds that to his arsenal.
Yeah, we just about carry every one of Strasburg's starts right from spring training. Here comes Streech, here comes the Curly W, and here comes opening day. GM, players, manager, a lot of hardware's been given out today. Finally, folks, it's time to play a baseball game. Brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. And by DentaQuest. Affordable coverage for priceless smiles. Ask your broker about DentaQuest. So that was last October. And now it's April 1st. So from that celebration to the business at hand, which is taking care of some unfinished business from last year. The defending East Division champions have taken the field. Steven Strasburg about to take his warm-up tosses and facing the Miami Marlins, who were 13th in the league in hitting last year, 15th in runs, 12th in home runs. Giancarlo Stanton. He hits the Nats like nobody else right now, and he's an outstanding hitter. By the way, 5 out of 13 with a career homer against Steven Strasburg. Juan Pierre over from the Phillies. Placido Polanco over from the Phillies. Casey Kochman over from the American League. So they do have some guys that have been in the big leagues for quite some time. Steven Strasburg, 21-10 career. And here we go. And FP, we were so impressed with the way he threw the ball with command in spring training.
Yeah, worked on a lot of things, got a lot accomplished down in Florida. This is his second career opening day start. No restrictions, no limits. Go get him. 0-3 with a 4.62 in ERA in spring training. Two-seam fastball, curveball change, 3-pitch repertoire. Fastball averaging 96 miles an hour last year. It's time for your AFCEA intelligence report on Steven Strasburg. In to win. Worked on pitching inside to lefties and righties. Run that two-seam fastball back with 2 strikes. Ambush this. A lot of teams last year jumped on that first pitch fastball. He's been dumping a get-me-over curveball in there for strike 1 very effectively this spring. And don't change. Change up early in the count. Not just for a strikeout pitch. He'll throw it when he's behind 2-0, 1-0. Those are all the things he worked on in spring training. And, folks, he is ready for opening day. Going to set the defense behind Steven Strasburg for the opener. Harper, Spanworth in the outfield. Desmond Zimmerman on the left side. Espinosa LaRoche on the right side. And congratulations to Wilson Ramos, who got the opening day start all the way back from the knee surgery. And we are more than happy to see him in the squad here on opening day.
Yeah, only got in 25 games last year. Train is celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. Hard to stop a train, really hard. 65, it is beautiful, humidity is low, and it is a picture-perfect day for a baseball opener at Nationals Park. Juan Pierre hit .307 for the Phillies last year. Ryan Zimmerman, first batter of the year. He's on the grass, first pitch of the year, and it is right down the middle. Underway at 1:09 Eastern. Juan Pierre, 4 for 8 career against Strasburg.
How about all the red in the stands today? Beautiful day for a ball game. Everybody picking up right where they left off in the playoffs this year, sporting the red.
And a ball lined out to right center. Strasburg went fastball again, and Pierre hits it out to Denard Span. Marlins off to a good start. Well, we didn't think things were going to be perfect today. High fastball, FP.
97 miles an hour up in the zone. Veteran hitter. And Steven Strasburg's a guy you don't want to get to a 2-strike count with. Nice piece of hitting right there to start the year for Juan Pierre. That first hit, toughest one to get.
Chris Coughlin is next. And he's had some injury problems the last year or two since being a Rookie of the Year in 09. Hit just a .140 in 39 games last year. Strasburg, fastball up and away. Jeff Kellogg is the crew chief. Crew chief gets home plate on opening day. In order of seniority then, Cooper, Schreiber, and Fairchild on the bases. And Juan Pierre, of course, stole 37 bases last year. He is the #1 active base stealer in Major League Baseball with 591. Good lead. He's holding. Fastball blown by Chris Coughlin.
Yeah, 95 miles an hour from Strasburg. The 4-seam fastball right down the middle. Coughlin looking heater. Couldn't catch up.
Nothing but heat so far. 2-1. Coughlin, and we remember him from that Rookie of the Year season when he hit .321 in 09, 31 doubles. He did a good job of spraying the ball around the field. You pretty much have to play him straight up.
And there's a changeup we talked about. 2-1 pitch from Steven Strasburg. Most hitters sitting dead red. He drops a nice changeup right there. Good late fade.
197 strikeouts last year.
Good count to run on right here if you're Juan Pierre.
Target is in. Pierre holds, another foul.
And Steven Strasburg very quick to the plate out of the gate. A guy that at times has been very deliberate with the runner on first. In this sequence to Chris Coughlin so far. Been very quick to the plate.
Well, the Marlins had to sit around and watch the Nats take home a lot of hardware before the game. With the runner going, Adam LaRoche handles it, 1 out. Second base for Juan Pierre.
Well, that play right there by Adam LaRoche is a little bit bigger than it would seem when you're just presented with your first ever Gold Glove before the game. And probably one of the most beautiful trophies in sports, I might add. A little bit of pressure on your first chance of the year.
Yeah, you don't want it to be a tough one. The Marlins are batting Giancarlo Stanton third because they always want him to bat in the first inning. Oddly, it sets up a guy like Placido Polanco as the cleanup man. And this is high in the air for Denard Span. He'll get his first touch as a Nat. Juan Pierre tags. He's at third base with 2 outs. Inside the numbers with STG. Find out why the government and employees choose STG Inc. So Strasburg, #1 in all of Major League Baseball last year with the average velocity on his fastball all season long just under 96.
You talk about the maturation process of Steven Strasburg, though. It's not all about the fastball anymore. This is a guy that has learned throughout the last couple of years. He doesn't have to do it all himself. He can rely on his defense. It's part of growing up as a pitcher. Knows that he can let the other team put the ball in play. He's got one of the best defenses in the National League behind him. It's not all about the strikeout anymore.
Tough contact guy here in Placido Polanco. Zimmerman! Hello! How about that way to end the top of the first? Looked like an RBI base hit. Ryan, the early favorite for the Gold Glove this year. Now the left side of the rotation with today's starting lineup.
Leading off, playing center field, Denard Web Jam Span.
Batting second, right fielder Jason the Beard Worth.
Batting third, Rookie of the Year, young Bryce Harper.
Batting cleanup, Mr. DC, the third baseman Ryan Zimmerman.
Batting fifth, Gold Glover, playing first base, Adam Buck Commander LaRoche.
Batting sixth, All-Star Silver Slugger shortstop Ian Desmond.
Batting seventh, switch hitter, the young bearded Danny Espinosa.
Batting eighth, catcher Wilson Buffalo Ramos.
And batting ninth, your starting pitcher for the opening day, Silver Slugger winner, Steven Strasburg.
Don't quit your night jobs, guys. That was fun. Thank you, gentlemen.
Had a little help from the truck, it looked like. That was pretty spliced up.
Gio and Detweiler. Here's Denard Span against Ricky Nolasco. Ricky Nolasco shut the Nationals out twice in a row last year on August 28th and September 9th. 3 complete games the whole year, 2 of them against the Nats.
Yeah, 18 innings, gave up just 9 hits, struck out 12, and walked 1 in those 2 starts you're talking about.
Delayed call, Jeff Kellogg, strike 2. Pitch that might have been up and in. Denard Span sees Ricky Nolasco for the first time. 76 and 64 career. 180th big league start. Denard hit .283 in Minnesota last year. Off speed. Nolasco didn't miss by much.
Yeah, curveball right there, tried to backdoor it. It'll feature a fastball, a slider, and a split. One of his better pitches for an out pitch with 2 strikes. Fastball averages 90 miles an hour, moves it around nice.
Denard Span, career on base percentage of just under .360. They play him around to left center. Big gap out toward the scoreboard. And he will wait for the off-speed pitch and pull it, staying alive.
And the one thing you and I learned about Denard Span in spring training, again, it's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Goes deep into counts. More times than not, he'll find himself in a 3-2 count. And I think any good leadoff hitter throughout the history of the game is not afraid to hit with 2.
Yeah, and then you have Jason Worth behind him, very selective. You want these guys to grind out at bats. Number 3 and 4 guys are going to see a lot of pitches by the time they step into the batter's box. Span broke his bat. Right side for Donovan Solano.
Let's set the defense for the Marlins today behind Ricky Nolasco. Pierre Coghlan stand in the outfield. Echeverria, Polanco on the left side. Solano, Kochman on the right side. And young Rob Brantley doing the catching.
Yeah, Jose Reyes is gone. A bunch of pitching is gone from this Miami team. By the way, Austin Kearns, the former Nat, made the team out of spring training. He was with them last year. And here's Jason Worth. 4 for 28 career against Nolasco with a home run.
That's the job of a leadoff hitter. Get back to the dugout, get quizzed by your teammates. That's all right on opening day, but in July and August it gets old, and the only way you solve that is by getting on base. But that's what good teams do. They relay information. Veteran ball clubs. What'd you see? What's his fastball look like? Is it moving? Did you see the split? What's the slider doing? That's part of your job as a leadoff man. Go deep into a count, gather information, and spread it around in the dugout. Still answering questions.
1-1 to Jason Worth. Got a fastball in on his hands. That's Polanco at third. Coming back from back problems that hampered him in Philadelphia last year. A couple of routine ground balls and 2 outs, and here comes Bryce Harper. Expectations sky high for this young man. Bryce had his share of hits against Ricky last year, 4 for 14 against Nolasco. Had a good spring training. Locked in early, and then he kept it going, which is not always easy to do.
Yeah, look at the numbers. 478, 3 home runs. A 500 on base percentage. Looking to keep that rolling in the regular season.
Harper, right field. It is gone. The Nats are on top. Zimmerman's going to step out for a moment while Harper gets it in the dugout. And this crowd, everybody on its feet. They want an opening day curtain call. Bryce says, hey, we got 6 months for that. Zimmerman goes up hacking, expecting first pitch fastball. So for Bryce Harper, his 23rd career home run.
You get the Rookie of the Year award before the game. You walk up your first at bat. You go deep. to start the 2013 campaign. And there goes the no-hitter, and there goes the long winner.
And there's finally a run against Ricky Nolasco. It's the middle of last summer, the last time the Nats scored against this guy.
It looks like a slider down and in, just kind of spun in there. Bryce Harper locked in all spring, keeps it going right here on opening day. Look at the extension, the balance, the swing, and it's a great way to start the season.
Not a lot of guys hit a ball that low that goes out of this ballpark over that scoreboard. But he backspins the ball even on low line drives as well as anybody.
He set some lofty goals for himself this season, and so far so good.
That's a breaking ball. Zimmerman tips his cap and walks away. But the Nats, after Zimmerman's great play to save a run, now score a run as Bryce Harper gets a breaking ball and punishes that thing right over the scoreboard. The Nats by 1 early. Bryce Harper's gone deep. The Nats last year hit 194 home runs. Only Milwaukee with 202 hit more. Look at that. Kind of out on the front foot. Back foot flying off the ground there, FP.
And we talked about Adam LaRoche making a good play in his first chance after winning the Gold Glove. How about your first at-bat after winning Rookie of the Year? You put your team on top 1-0. You see the leg kick. Nice and slow and early. We noticed in spring training on his legs a little bit more than last year. Using the most powerful thing in your body, your legs, and you see the results.
So are the Nats on top 1-0. Top of the second, 23-year-old catcher Rob Brantley. Came from the Tigers last year in the Omar Infante Anibal Sanchez deal. And he had 290 in 31 games at the big league level. He's got a live bat and he's a good young catcher. This one heading foul down the left field side. Steven Strasburg's first inning, 11 pitches, 8 strikes. So things happen quickly. It's a good sign when Steven can face 4 batters and only throw 11 pitches. Brantley homered against him last year, going 2 for 4. Steven goes up and in with the heater. Lights are on. Cloudy overhead suddenly. As a breaking ball. Little tapper. Steven Strasburg, I think, will win a Gold Glove as well someday, if enough guys make contact against him. Second inning presented by Luna. Call for the Luna double. Get your second room of flooring free at 877-241-LUNA. Well, 3 contact outs first inning. Another one here. And it's Donovan Solano. And this young man burst on the scene for the Marlins last year. In fact, his brother Jonathan with the Nats in Miami at the time. He had 295 for them in 93 games, and he plays a very nice second base. 2 for 6 against Strasburg last year. That's a fastball. He got around late. It's out of play. 97 is pretty much where Strasburg's fastball's been here in the early going. Steven pitched awfully well in Chicago opening day last year. Didn't figure in the decision. Nats came back to win that game. Some heroics in that first weekend by Chad Tracy at Wrigley Field. It's about 20 degrees warmer right now than we were enduring a year ago today when the Nats took 2 out of 3 in that series and never looked back. 2-2 in the dirt with an 83-mile-an-hour pitch. Casey Kochman, longtime Angels, been bouncing around the last few years. Ryan Zimmerman on the run. Right on target to Adam LaRoche. 5 in a row for Strasburg. 3 of them, actually 4 of them now on ground balls since that base hit by Juan Pierre.
Using his defense, and why wouldn't you? Steven Strasburg with one of the better defenses standing behind him. We'll get a look at the plate in the first inning. Placido Polanco with a shot. Down to Ryan Zimmerman, little dive to his left, good throw right on the money. Now you got that defense behind you, throw strikes. Let the opponent put the ball in play, and I think Steven Strasburg learning that. Don't have to always do it yourself.
30-year-old veteran first baseman Casey Kochman. .262 career hitter in 9 years with the Angels, Braves, the Red Sox, Mariners, and Rays. And that one had first base coach Perry Hill on the move.
Last couple of fastballs, 98 miles an hour. Velocity up here in the second.
Is he loose yet?
He's loose. He's ready.
Right back to the mound. Steven Strasburg, contact pitcher, and we love it.
Changeup 92 right there from Strasburg.
Don Sutton used to call that an overpowering changeup. Strikes so far. You can get single game tickets now for games this season. Some of them start at just $10. Go to nationals.com/tickets. Check it out. Or hashtag Netitude. Here we go. Bottom 2. LaRoche, Desmond, Espinoza. Marlins do not employ a big shift on Adam LaRoche. Donovan Solano's about 15 feet into right field.
A new addition to the ballpark this year, left center field. Hashtag Natitude. There it is. Clean. I like it.
Nolasco goes off speed. 81 gets the count to 0-2. Adam LaRoche, 14 career hits against Ricky Nolasco, hitting .280. Hard to think of a better season than when you bring home the gold for your glove and the silver for your bat.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time.
He won both showcases before the game today. We're going to need his pickup truck to take home all the awards after the game.
I do believe Ryan Zimmerman did that. All-Star game and Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger in 2009. How about that for the trifecta? Off speed, Nolasco strikes out Adam LaRoche. Second consecutive strikeout for Ricky Nolasco. STG, find out why the government and employees choose STG Inc. On base percentage plus slugging. We call it OPS. And Ian Desmond's took a 190-point jump last year. One of the biggest in baseball.
Well, he's become a force in the lineup. I think one of the better shortstops in all of baseball right now. It's a great defensive position, but when you talk about a guy that's kind of thought about as an offensive shortstop, we mentioned a lot in spring training this year. Second in all of baseball, swinging at the first pitch. Very aggressive last year, catching the ball out in front, not trying to massage it to right field, but looking to do damage early.
Most shortstop homers in baseball with 25. Ian drove in 73, and then he didn't stop once the season ended. He went 7 for 19, hitting .386 in the division series against St. Louis. Throw in 21 stolen bases, and you've got a couple of guys playing up the middle who should be 2020 guys this year. Ian Desmond, though, only 1 of 12 career against Ricky Nolasco. And there's another guy. Danny had 3 more homers last year. He would have been 2020. Stole 20 bases. Desmond off the end of the bat. Short right field for Giancarlo Stanton. And the Marlins, by the way, some of their people are upset that nobody around the country has learned how to pronounce his name. It is Giancarlo. Not Giancarlo, not Giancarlo, but Giancarlo.
Definitely not Mike.
It's not Mike.
I like Mike better because I can say it, but
it's his middle name. Pitchers have some other names. Here's Danny Espinosa, who hit .247 last year. And he's looking for his first career hit against this right-hander. It's one of those crazy things. Danny's 0 for 15 against Ricky. Little tapper right side. Both pitchers pitching well. And really, Bryce Harper's home run came on a big looping breaking ball. The Nats lead 1-0 after 2. Steven Strasburg averaging under 13 pitches per so far, as his manager Davey Johnson puts him out there on opening day. An AT&T fact from last year, Davey and Billy, 4 different teams to finish first, the only 2 to ever do that. That is very impressive.
Probably got the loudest ovation today too with the introductions.
He did. 24-year-old, at least he will be on April 15th, Adeiny Echeverria, young infielder from Cuba, came over from Toronto, as a lot of players went from Miami to Toronto and back during the offseason. He hit .254 for the Blue Jays in 41 games last year after hitting .312 at Toronto's AAA in Vegas. So good-looking young player. They put him in at shortstop. Jose Reyes is now a Blue Jay. Strasburg looking to move him away and then maybe carve him up. Breaking ball, front door. See you in the dugout for the first out. Steven Strasburg, Mercedes-Benz on the pitch track, first K of the year.
Well, you called it. Fastball up and in, 95 two-seamer. What do you do with that? You use it to your advantage with a nasty curveball. 2 strikes, started on the inner half, broke back late. Thanks for coming.
Mercedes-Benz with our pitch track, located on the web at mbusa.com. Here's Ricky Nolasco. Interesting matchups between these pitchers when they hit against each other. Ricky's 1 for 6 against Steven. Strasburg 2 for 7 against Nolasco.
Well, you put 96 down there. You keep it down the zone away from hitters consistently today. It's going to be a long day for the Marlins if he can locate that heater. It's been 95 to 98 miles an hour here early.
That one elevated a bit, strike 2. Ricky took a pretty good hack at 97 right there.
I mean, you don't want to get too much caught up in the velocity with Strasburg. I mean, what it does for you as a pitcher, it allows you to be, gives you a little more room, allows you to make some mistakes in the zone. You don't have to be so fine with the fastball, but if you are locating that fastball at 96 to 98, and then you're throwing the curveball for a strike in any count, and then you have that changeup in the back of your mind. If I'm hitting against Steven Strasburg, I am getting on the first fastball I see and trying to seal the deal early in the count.
Right down the middle, 2 outs. We are very pleased to announce our new over-the-air partner this year. It's WUSA Channel 9. Fans can watch 20 games over the air on WUSA 9, and the broadcast schedule available right now at WUSA9.com. As they say at WUSA 9, game on. We welcome you. Strasburg misses away to Juan Pierre, who singled sharply to right center to start the game. Marlins haven't had a base runner since. 2-0. Juan Pierre makes contact along with Polanco at an amazing rate. 94% of the time in his career. 452 strikeouts in, listen to this, 7,218 at bats. The ball is almost always in play, and then Polanco's just a little bit under that.
And a fastball coming at you, 98 miles an hour. Watch your toes. I don't think Wilson Ramos had a whole lot of time to get that glove over there.
Yeah, Jeff Kellogg took that one off the right shin. 3 balls and a strike. Not a guy you want to walk with 2 outs because he could be at second base in a hurry. Looks like he's going to earn his way aboard if that stays fair, but it'll hook just enough, and he might have busted his bat. Let's go to STG Inc. again. Government and employees choose STG Inc. Well, look at that, almost 11 and a half strikeouts per 9 innings last year.
And just when we get done talking about how he's pitching to contact, a couple of strikeouts to start out the 3rd inning. And now Juan Pierre has to go back and get a new bat, and he finds himself in a 2-strike count.
Juan Pierre is 35 years of age, out of Mobile, Alabama. He's been in the big league since 2000 when he broke in with the Rockies. You know what they're clapping for? But this is a tough guy to strike out, as mentioned.
Challenge fastball, 97, little two-seam action. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the changeup right here off that 97. And fastball away.
Threw it for a strike, and Pierre to the gap. There's Jason Worth to grab it. It'll be tough to hit gappers between this speedy outfield this year. In the big leagues and in the opening day lineup today. 265 in the 25 games. He was hitting way over 300 in April. Then he got hurt in Cincinnati trying to plant his foot to make a throw to second base and a ball that got away.
Yeah, a lot of work to get back to today. Said he feels better than he did before he hurt his knee. A lot of times in rehab you work out so hard. He lost 15 pounds. You can see how lean he is, how muscular he is. Had a great spring training, trying to carry it over to the regular season.
269 career hitter. Wilson's next homer in the big leagues will be his 19th. He hit 15 2 years ago, and last year he was batting .372 on April 26th after he hit 2 solo home runs against the Mets' Chris Young. Ramos against Nolasco, 0 for 2 career. Then Steven Strasburg, and then Denard Span here in the bottom of the third. Ricky Nolasco, first 2 innings, 26 pitches, 18 strikes.
And you can just tell the way Ramos is standing in the box on his legs, a lot like Bryce Harper. A good spring training, more upright before the surgery, but after all that work on his legs, able to get down there, use the lower half. Pretty good hack right there. 3-0 green light. You got a guy that's got 20+ home runs pop in the 8-hole. You give him the green light, 3-0 for sure.
3-1 pitch. Ramos looks at a fastball up and in. Nationals have their second base runner. Strasburg coming in, and we've got more baseball for you Wednesday. Tomorrow's an off day. Gio goes against right-hander Kevin Slowey, and then on Thursday it's a 4 o'clock game, 4:05. First pitch from Jordan Zimmerman against Wade LeBlanc. Marlins had to put a couple of their starters on the DL this past weekend with shoulder problems. Quite a blow to their ball club. because they need all the pitching they can get right now. Strasburg lays down a good bunt. His 7th career sacrifice. So a guy with a silver slugger does the fundamental thing very well here. First time up.
Well, he bunted it pretty firm right there, and I thought Ricky Nolasco had a chance at Wilson Ramos at second base. He wanted to bunt this to Casey Kochman at first base. That's the guy who's standing farthest away from you because he has to hold the runner on. A little bit too close to the pitcher, and Ricky Nolasco had no desire whatsoever to get the lead runner at second base. Nats will take it.
Marlins lost Nathan Eovaldi, who would have pitched a second game in the series, and Henderson Alvarez, who was with Toronto last year, 9-game winner. Both of those guys on the DL over the weekend with shoulder injuries. Backhand play required by Rob Brantley on the first pitch to Denard Span.
And that's not an easy thing for a pitcher to bunt a catcher over. And look at the pitch right here from Nolasco. Nice stop right there by Rob Brantley. It's a lot of pressure on a bunter when you have a below-average runner on base in front of you. Everybody in the ballpark knows you're bunting. Sometimes you try to be too fine and it goes right back to the pitcher, but Steven Strasburg, Wilson Ramos, and the rest of the Nats will take it.
The right side. Nolasco in on the trademark of Denard Span, and we're almost over to third base with 2 outs. RBI opportunity for Jason Worth.
Well, he got a guy on deck that homered his first time up. And you think Jason Worth will see something to hit right here.
Yeah, by the way, with that hit, Bryce Harper now 5 out of 15 career against Ricky Nolasco. That's the best batting average by any Nat against this right-hander.
A little protection right there in the on-deck circle in the form of number 34.
Yeah, nothing like a second-year guy protecting the veteran. This is a fascinating lineup. Worth is so selective. And FP, you know there will be some innings when pitchers go to 3 balls on Jason Worth. They'll be pitching defensively. I don't want to walk him. I don't want to walk him. And when you think like that, that's when you walk somebody.
Yeah, fall behind 1-0. Good point.
Well, the Marlins have a new skipper, former catcher. And he's a good baseball man, Mike Redmond, 42 years of age. At least he will be early May. 287 career hitter in 13 years with the Marlins, the Twins, and the Indians. Guy retired just 3 years ago, and now he's managing in the major leagues. Worth gets a good piece of that one, but it's high in the air to left center. And Chris Coughlin waits for it. The Nats strand their first base runner. So the middle innings are upon us. Pitchers matching up nicely. On Marlins, nothing into the 4th inning. Let's go inside the numbers, brought to you by Jeep and the unique brand of freedom you'll find only in the full line of Jeep vehicles. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. So, hits from last year, that have departed. And the Marlins losing 56% of the hits from last year. And a lot of that is Jose Reyes. A lot of that is Hanley Ramirez with the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, respectively.
You know what else departed in the first 4? The manager. So
yeah, they're 100% on that one.
Maybe there's a correlation between that stat and your job security.
Well, there were some other elements to that story. Mike Redmond's not going to be Ozzie Guillen. We know that. He was a pretty successful minor league manager 2 years ago. Midwestern League Manager of the Year at the Single-A Toronto affiliate, the Lansing Lugnuts. One of the great team names in minor league baseball.
Well, he's a perfect guy for the job for this team. A young ball club. He's used to instructing and teaching. A lot of times that doesn't happen at the major league level when you have a lot of veteran guys. But Freddie Gonzalez in 2010, Edwin Rodriguez 2011, Ozzie Smith last year, 4th manager in 4 years, and it's the right man in the right spot.
32% caught stealing as a catcher in his 13 years in the big leagues.
It was Ozzie Guillen last year. I mean, there was always a distraction. There was one thing after another, and you know, as a player, when everything perfect, this game is hard enough. But when you have to worry about what's being said in the paper about you, and you know what's going on off the field all the time, and now you can just concentrate on baseball. Obviously, a different ball club. Everybody departing to Toronto, but when you talk about Mike Redmond, old school baseball guy, he'll have these guys thinking the right way all season long.
Coughlin thought he had walked. It's now 3-2. Target inner half, and a fly ball to left for Bryce Harper. Routine fashion, 1 out. Steven Strasburg has retired 10 in a row since Juan Pierre's game-opening hit. Get your 2013 season plans. Do it now. You can go to nationals.com/2013. Hats off to those of you who took advantage of last year's pricing. The deadline was yesterday. We hope you still can find a way to join us. They have partial plans, half-season plans, and a full season ticket plan as well. Here's Giancarlo Stanton, fly to center on Strasburg's first pitch last time up.
Yeah, 1-0 changeup right there to Stanton.
It's amazing how the mitt pops on a changeup.
Yeah, it's 90. It should.
Stanton 5 out of 14 career against Steven. High in the air to right. Overpowered him again with another fly ball. This is Worth drifting with it. There's a gentle breeze blowing from the left field corner, and that ball went farther than Jason initially thought it would. And it was kind of funny to see the fans in the mezzanine in right field start standing up as the ball carried toward them.
You see the carry on this baseball for you kids at home. Nice job of keeping your feet moving. Whenever you get still out there as an outfielder, that's when you get in trouble. Jason Worth keeping those feet moving, reading the wind, going back nicely.
Placido Polanco absolutely robbed by Ryan Zimmerman first time up. Looked like a sure RBI hit to left. It would have been his 2045th hit. Ryan to his left, scooping, throw hopping, firing. Flawless at third base so far. Here comes Harper, and then Ryan Zimmerman. Adam LaRoche, 3-4-5 straight ahead. departures from here to New York. Book now at Amtrak.com. Bryce Harper in our game summary, producing the game's only run. A laser beam to right field with 2 outs back in the first inning.
Well, big-time players show up in big games, and so far it's been Ryan Zimmerman at third base with the glove. Dive and play, right on the money. Bryce Harper's first at-bat of the year. A home run to right. He's on pace to hit about 600 home runs this year. And how about Steven Strasburg on the mound? The fastball command has been great. The off-speed right there. The curveball nearly unhittable. Gave up a single to Juan Pierre to start the game. He's retired 12 straight.
First pitch changeup. That'll get you some off-speed stuff, even though he hit a curveball out of here.
Well, as a hitter, you eliminate pitches, or try to, every at-bat. You can say after the first at-bat for Bryce Harper, that curveball's gone. Sit fastball change if you want.
Ricky Nolasco made 31 starts last year. Didn't give up that many home runs, only 18 the whole year. Strasburg gave up 50. Marlins Park can play very big. Pitchers like that.
It is big. Plays big, is big.
2 balls, no strikes. Nats will be down there shortly. First long road trip of the year will be Miami, New York.
Oh, he is locked. Good swing right there on a 2-0 count. Davey Johnson liked that one. You just tell the balance throughout the swing. The foot's down early. Wants that one back.
Two balls and 2 strikes. As we check in on Jeep in our list here, rookies of the year, youngest all time, Dwight Gooden, just 33 days younger than Bryce Harper when he won it in '84. Amazing. Don't forget about that unique brand of freedom you'll find only in the full line of Jeep vehicles. Off speed outside, counts full.
Yeah, so far, fastball, split change from Nolasco to Harper. Hasn't seen the slider, hasn't seen the curve that he hit out. See if he gets a 3-2 heater.
Ryan Zimmerman, then Adam LaRoche here. Harper again! See you later! 2-0 Nationals.
I thought I was joking when I said he's on pace to hit 600 home runs. This ain't a curtain call, nothing is. This place wants Bryce Harper on the top step right now.
There he goes.
Unbelievable.
And Ryan Zimmerman understands these kind of moments. He had 1 foot in the box, 1 out, until that business got taken care of, and that's inside to Ryan.
We have a talkback button, and I was giggling to the truck this whole at-bat, and the balls he was fouling off. He was balanced, he was locked in, he was on everything, got to a 3-2 count, and got a changeup from Nolasco, 85 miles an hour. Bryce Harper, 2 for 2, 2 home runs.
Exmo brought to you by Verizon. Switch to 100% fiber optic Verizon Fios. Supercharge your internet speeds. Nice support for Steven Strasburg. By the way, FP, he needed to hit that home run to take the league lead again. Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs has homered, and now Harper has 2.
Let's check out the swing one more time. The balance for me is unbelievable. Under control. If you remember last year, had trouble hitting the off speed at times. That was a 3-2 changeup to a guy that's absolutely seeing beach balls at the plate.
Zimmerman a swing on 2-0. Bryce Harper's 3rd career multi-homer game.
He talked about his goals before the season. He sent me a text message in about January of the things he wanted to accomplish. He got some lofty goals and wants to be one of the greatest that ever played. I know it's opening day. You don't want to get too carried away, but 2 for 2 with 2 homers. It's a pretty good start to your season.
2 balls and 2 strikes as Ryan couldn't reach that.
Jerry Krasnick from ESPN went up to Bryce Harper today in the dugout before the game, and he said, "I got you as my National League MVP." And Bryce just went, "Okay, yeah, thanks." Not phased. Just like the rest of this ball club, we touch on the open about the expectations. They don't care. Bring it on.
3-2 now to Zimmerman. Well, Ryan's one of those guys who knows when to step up on the stage, and Bryce Harper now, about 8 years younger, that same obscure ability. How do you teach that? How do you develop that? Some guys just have it. Zimmerman going to be called out. He thought that fastball was outside. It evidently ran back to the corner, and Jeff Kellogg punched him out. Ricky Nolasco, 3rd strikeout, 2 of them to Ryan.
They tried to run that fastball back over the plate, 92 miles an hour. Pitch track had it outside. Ryan Zimmerman had it outside. About 48,000 people had it outside as well.
Nationals expecting a crowd today that'll be in the top 5 of this ballpark all time. There's Adam LaRoche. He swung through strike 3 first time. Jacks that ball to right, but it's right at Giancarlo Stanton, 2 down.
Yeah, touched on it a little bit in the middle of Bryce Harper's at-bat, but as a major league hitter, if you can eliminate pitches, it makes the subsequent at-bats a lot more simple. So first time up, Bryce Harper goes deep on a curveball hanging there, almost like he sat on it, caught it out front. So now as a hitter, you're thinking, well, he's not going to throw me that. I've eliminated 1 pitches in his repertoire, so I'll go fastball, changeup. Look for both of those. They're very similar. He was on pretty much everything throughout that whole at-bat. Got a changeup down low, 3-2. I knew what to do with it. Now he's just hoping that Ricky Nolasco stays in the game for his next at-bat.
Ian Desmond flied to right first time. Breaking ball goes outside. It is just beyond 2 o'clock here at Nationals Park. Bryce Harper, 2 solos that adds behind Strasburg to lead the Marlins 2-0. Everything you could want in the first 4 innings of a season opener. Great defense, outstanding pitching, and a young guy doing his thing with the bat. That's a front door changeup at 83 that stays inside.
And Desmond's going to be hacking right here. He can bet the house on it. He gets a strike, he's swinging. 3-0 green light all the way.
Well, last year he did what Davey wanted him to do, be aggressive, pull the ball. That one's outside. It's not easy for Ian to take a walk, and he just did. The Nats have another base runner, Ricky Nolasco's 2nd walk. That'll bring in Danny Espinosa.
And Nolasco wobbling a bit here in the 4th inning. Home run to Harper, walked Zimmerman, or struck out Zimmerman, and a hard line drive to LaRoche, and then a walk there.
And that was a borderline pitch. It could have been ball 4 to Ryan.
Yeah, that's why I said walked him. I just put walk down on my scorecard because I assumed it was outside.
Danny Espinosa bounced out to first base, still hunting that first career hit against Ricky Nolasco. Sun trying to peek through the clouds again here. Espinosa in the air to left. Juan Pierre, former center fielder, can still go get him. Bryce does it again. This time it's a leadoff shot. This was a no-doubter to right field. Harper's gone deep twice. The Nats after 4, 2-0. A lot of cheers from the fans on the third base side. He will acknowledge them, and left field as well. That'll happen a lot. Here's Rob Brantley, top of the 5th inning. First pitch right at Danny Espinosa. 13 straight for Steven Strasburg. Don't forget about the Natitude Flex packs on sale. Pick 4 games, you get a 5th one free. Nationals.com/flex. Check it out. If you're watching at home today, come and join us Wednesday. Gio for the Nats, Jordan Zimmerman, 4:05 Thursday afternoon before the Nationals head off to a really interesting weekend series on the road to open things up in Cincinnati. Donovan Solano bounced out to Ryan Zimmerman first time. Pulled the bat in, showed bunt. That got Ryan on the move. And the count's 1-1. The other thing about Steven Strasburg, nobody on base since Juan Pierre. Coming off the full windup, his work rate has been quick and very efficient.
Getting in that rhythm, getting in that groove, minus that changeup right there.
Yeah, that was 85, not the fastball, obviously.
He's kind of lost the release point right here, the grip. As he looked down at his hand, maybe a little sweat involved. My bad.
Fires the next one. Ian Desmond. How about the arms on this infield? 2 outs. PNC Bank for the Achiever in You, our minor league report. It was tough for the Nats to send Anthony Rendon to AA Harrisburg, but he will be in the big leagues soon.
He may be ready. He may be called up.
He's going to be tough to ignore, that young man from Rice University. By the way, Steven Strasburg, 8 ground ball outs. Pardon me, 9.
Great tempo going, great rhythm, working fast, throwing strikes, getting the job done.
7-pitch inning. And Teddy, oh, look at William Howard. Down goes Abe. And then Tom Jefferson would go down. You get the feeling George is lurking here, FP. Something's up on the Geico race.
You get the feeling right now that Taft is really hungry coming around that last turn. There he goes, down, face plant.
Well, he and Teddy, they've been feuding for decades. And George takes advantage. 4 men down, 1 man finishes.
80 more races, and then the playoffs, hopefully.
That was kind of like a primary there. 4 down, 1 survives. Here's Ramos. Up and in with a changeup. Wilson, good AB first time. Took what the game gave him. He walked. Strasburg sacrificed him. He was stranded at third in the third inning when Jason Worth flew out. Reaching, base hit. Remember in the pregame lineups, what did Russ Detweiler call him? The Buffalo? That's only because he is strong. I mean, he is strong. FP, you know how tough it is to reach out like this and get the big part of the bat on the ball.
And check out the Verizon Fios Exmo right here. Wilson Ramos reaching out. Good extension. And getting that first knock of the year. Wilson Ramos on base machine today. Walking a base hit. Switch to 100% fiber optic Verizon Fios and supercharge your internet speeds.
Let's see if the Silver Slugger pitcher goes 2 for 2 on sac bunts here. Steven got it done early in the AB last time.
Well, it's interesting to see when he got back to the dugout. Rick Eckstein grabbed him, talked to him, maybe told him, hey, a little bit more toward first, or maybe we go to third base with that. But coaching him up as he came back, we'll see what he was telling him right here. So tell the story.
Yeah, that was Ricky Nolasco's first defensive play, so he did the simple thing by throwing the first. Might have had a shot at second base. Strasburg pulled the bat back, and it looked like the pitch was low. Good decision by Steven.
Yeah, for all you kids out there in Little League, the lower levels, bunt strikes. If it's not a strike, pull the bat back. A lot of times guys go up there to sacrifice bunt, they get nervous and try to bunt the first thing up there. Make the pitcher throw strikes. It makes it easier to bunt.
Pulls it back again, 2-0.
Just like that.
And here's the other thing. We saw this from Davey Johnson at times last year. He knows who's in the box. He has the lead. You never know when he's going to switch off and have Strasburg maybe gash a ground ball through the infield somewhere.
You go Butcher Boy right here if you want to. Pull the bat back. Try to slash it past Placido Polanco at third base. Or just straight up hit. Now he's going to square.
Nolasco, first base again. Everything fundamentally being done by the Nats so far.
And you got to give Wilson Ramos credit on both of these bunts. Great secondary lead at first base. Reading the down angle of the bunt quickly. And these aren't great bunts by Steven Strasburg, but they're great in one way. They're getting the job done. You got to give credit to Wilson Ramos at first base. Watch the big secondary lead. Sees the ball down. Guy coming off knee surgery, hustling to second base. Ricky Nolasco twice hasn't even looked at Wilson Ramos because he's working hard on his primary lead, his secondary lead, and doing a nice job of reading the down angle of the bunt. That's good fundamental baseball all the way around. Nice job by Wilson Ramos running the bases. Little things like that win a lot of ball games over the course of 6 months.
Denard Span drove in 41 runs last year. His career high for Minnesota, 68 back in 09 when he had a fantastic season, batting .311 with 180 hits, 97 runs. Led the league with 10 triples and stole 23 bases. This young man is capable of great things. At the age of 29, looking for his first Nationals knock and RBI. He'll hit it right side to Casey Kochman, 2 outs. So Span 0 for 3 with ground balls to the right side. Another 2-out RBI chance for Jason Worth.
A buzz in the crowd right now with Bryce Harper stepping in the on-deck circle. How about that?
Don't walk him, Ricky. Worth, that is. Worth goes with Werewolves of London for this at bat.
Yeah, that's new. I like it.
Walk music.
He's got that kind of sense of humor. That's funny.
Oh, man. Warren Zevon, right?
Oh, my goodness.
First pitch breaking ball. Way out there. Wilson Ramos, third base for the second time today.
Yeah, the way he's running the bases and how he's feeling today, he's looking for a ball in the dirt to scoot home.
Just have to make sure at this ballpark it doesn't hit the limestone and come right back to the catcher. Wild pitches and pass balls when you're on third base. This is a difficult park to read what the ball's going to do. If it doesn't hit one of the advertising signs, it comes rocketing right back to the catcher. Worth on a breaking ball holds up. It's a called strike anyway. 1-2.
Jason Worth trying to hold up right there. You could tell by his swing he was looking for something on the inner half of the plate in a 1-1 count. Got a curveball in the outer half. Just caught the corner. And check out the difference in 2011, 2012.
Worth spoils a pretty good breaking ball.
And look at all the off speed from Ricky Nolasco. It's been mostly the curveball, the split changeup, a few sliders here and there, but it's a kitchen sink guy, a guy that throws everything. As a hitter, you just look for the ball in one zone. Look for it in, look for it out, look for it up. A guy that throws that much off speed, you're looking for anything elevated.
Target outside edge. Nolasco out there with a fastball. Didn't come back for him. Nationals have Ricky Nolasco nearing 70 pitches in his 5 innings. Bryce Harper just breaking down his own swing right there.
Lurking.
Worth stays alive. So tough to strike out when he's locked in.
That's all you have to do is go back to the Game 4 at bat when he saw 13 pitches, ended it with a home run. The more pitches he sees, the tougher out he is. Veteran guy doing his homework on rotation, pitch, release point.
He's a power hitter who makes contact about 82-83% of the time. Two-two pitch. Way outside. It's turning into a good at bat. And this is a key pitch in the ball game coming up now for Ricky Nolasco.
Ricky Nolasco just walked off the mound to get the new ball right here. And as he was walking off the mound, he looked directly into the on-deck circle at Bryce Harper. Almost like, I have to make this pitch right now or I'm in trouble. And if he walks Jason Worth right here, it doesn't necessarily he has to pitch. It means he has to pitch to Bryce Harper. And Ryan Zimmerman struck out twice.
3-2 with a runner at third and 2 outs.
On it.
Ninth pitch of this at bat about to be delivered. Worth on a nasty breaking ball, can't get to it. Nolasco strands the Nats' third runner of the day in a 2-0 game. Silver Slugger guys, Harper, Strasburg, LaRoche, Gold Gloves, Manager of the Year, Executive of the Year. Lots of hardware to be taken home after this one, but some work to be done. Top of the 6th.
You and I were the only ones that didn't win awards before the game.
We're not in it for the awards, FP. That is a foul ball from Adeni Echeverria, the shortstop. A lot to talk about after this one. It's the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report. Tom Davis, Mel Antonin, Dave Johnson. They'll continue our opening day coverage until 7 tonight. And it will be something. They'll have Strasburg to talk about, Bryce Harper, and who knows what else here in the final 4 innings. Johnny and Ray right after the game, and then the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report after that. Fly ball right field, Jason Worth. Wow. Steven Strasburg, 16 in a row since Juan Pierre's game-opening base hit.
Yeah, the one advantage to spring training in Florida and playing teams frequently is you get a good scouting report on them early in the season. Jason Worth playing very shallow right here, taking this base hit away. So two teams that saw each other a lot get to know each other a lot in spring training.
Ricky Nolasco struck out looking first time. A lot of fastball down the middle, a lot like that. Only one other game involving a division team, and the Mets at home in the 3rd lead the Padres 4-0. Adam LaRoche will pick it, and 2 quick outs. Not a whole lot to look at, thanks to Strasburg. In the Miami Marlins box, Juan Pierre started the game with a base hit to right center. Made it to 3rd base. Polanco was robbed by Zimmerman, and Strasburg has done the rest himself. 10 ground ball outs, FP, 17 hitters in a row retired.
He's been perfect since Juan Pierre.
Look at that pitch count, 7 last inning and 5 for 2 outs here. Juan Pierre, being the experienced hand he is, he got near the batter's box, took his time stepping in. He wanted to give Ricky Nolasco a little bit of a breather.
I mean, if Juan Pierre misses the team bus, Steven Strasburg's got a perfect game going right now.
Juan Pierre never takes the team bus. They always say he's the first guy at the ballpark.
You're right.
Line drive to Denard Span. Steven Strasburg and Bryce Harper brilliant today. Fourth inning leadoff homer. Some sequences of pitches to look at here, partner.
Yeah, let's check it out. Ricky Nolasco. Bryce Harper part 2. First pitch changeup down the zone. Second pitch fastball in the inner half. Just a show me fastball. You see a fastball away right there. Changeup up in the zone. I initially called the home run pitch a changeup, but I think that was a slider looking back at it at 85 miles an hour. And the reason I thought it was a change is it did nothing except for go out of the park. There wasn't a whole lot of break to it. It just spun up there. Bryce Harper giving the sign to his parents in the stands today. And he's got to do it twice crossing home plate. Nice. That was just a little slider that didn't slide, Cart.
Yeah.
It looked like a changeup initially.
Oh, you're right. Breaking ball.
We just saw it cut a little bit in. He beat him there, got the bat head out. And this will be interesting. Let's watch. Wow.
Harper went up pumping. First pitch changeup, 79.
The crowd is into this at bat, let me tell you. Wow.
Different styles of Harper memorabilia. Then he shows bunt.
He may get booed for doing that.
Gets Polanco on the move. Hey, there's a base hit sitting out there.
Hey, he's thinking about winning a ball game, not about his stats.
Yeah, he's the leadoff guy here.
That being said, he needs to swing.
1 ball, 1 strike. Off speed again. He ID'd at that time. 2-1.
But when you're locked in, things are moving slow. You're seeing the pitch right out of the pitcher's hand. You're picking up rotation. Your brain says ball or strike early. Game moves slow when you're locked.
Ball 3. They'll boo Ricky Nolasco if he walks him, but the Nats would love to have a base runner. They're booing ball 3.
They're booing ball 3. What do you throw him here? Change up maybe? Threw it first pitch. He swung through it. I have no idea.
Throws a fastball in the strike zone. He's out of his mind. Harper gashes that one to left center, but it's going to hang up. Juan Pierre there to grab it. He got in on the trademark with 91, just enough.
Check out this ovation going back to the dugout over the first base line. Let's check out the contact one. Got a 3-2 fastball. Down the zone, ran it back. He barreled it up. He just didn't find a hole.
Ryan Zimmerman has 1 opening day home run in his career. I think you folks remember that one. Hard to believe this ballpark is in its 6th season as of today.
45th opening day in franchise history, 9th in DC. Nats are 2-6 all time.
Yeah, time to do something about that number. Fastball down and in, 1 ball, 1 strike. First that Zimmerman homer was in the month of March, back in 08. Nationals box score. 3 hits, 2 of them homers by Bryce Harper. Wilson Ramos on base twice with a leadoff walk in the 3rd, a leadoff single in the 5th. Steven Strasburg chipping in with some sacrifice bunts that have put Ramos in scoring position. Nolasco's been painting the outside corner against Zimmerman. Got him with a breaking ball out there looking in the 1st. And then a swing back fastball in the 4th.
You remember that was the book on Ryan Zimmerman before the cortisone shot. Fastball sliders away, couldn't get extended. Got that shot in his shoulder, went out there and started driving the ball the other way. That's his strong point.
Waited for that breaking ball and couldn't get it. Ricky Nolasco having a pretty good day himself. 5 strikeouts. He's pitched around the 2 walks. And he'll face Adam LaRoche. Adam LaRoche has an opening day home run to his credit. Back in 06. Adam was with the Braves, 3rd year there. He went on to hit 32 home runs that year. 32 and 90 RBIs. Great career numbers in 9 years. 1,114 hits, 281 doubles.
It's good to see him back in a Nats uniform. That was in question for a lot of the winter.
Yeah, we love Michael Moore so much. So hard to say goodbye to him. But the Nats wanted to accommodate Mike and give him a place to play every day. Seattle, his old home, is that. But the re-signing of Adam LaRoche did one thing. It gave this lineup amazing balance. From span through Ramos, left, right, left, right, left, right. You got Espinosa, the switch hitter, in there. Davies Ball Club, his lineup will be really tough to match up against all year long.
Yeah, not to mention the defense at first base that relaxes the rest of the infield. You throw a ball in his vicinity, you know he's going to pick you up. The leadership in the clubhouse.
Rain falling at the ballpark. A drizzle coming down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. LaRoche hits it well to left. Juan Pierre going back and halfway onto the track. He makes the grab. Nolasco for 6, but Strasburg a little better. 2-0 Washington. Pitching, young star hits a couple of home runs. 3 innings to go here. Steven Strasburg has a pitch count that might allow him to stay deep in this game.
And he's pitching to contact. He's got a perfect game going minus Juan Pierre. Bryce Harper showed up with a couple home runs. I mean, big-time players play big in big-time games, and so far so good for the Nats today.
Yeah, Strasburg 18 in a row over 6 innings. A lot of ground ball outs. You know, everybody digs the strikeout. Man, you give me a game being pitched like this, and you're talking about big things.
Well, big things in the way that you can go deeper into ball games. You're not working as hard out there. You're more efficient. Like you said, pitch count down. And that allows you to qualify for more decisions, and especially with the way he can handle the bat. That's a bonus, too. You don't always have to go to the pinch hitter. He can handle the bat, get bunts down, get you a base hit. So all those combined with the restrictions gone for Steven Strasburg, things are looking great.
Veteran right-hander Chad Qualls. Some familiar names in the Marlins bullpen. John Maine, a former Met. Qualls, former Nat John Roush, Ryan Webb. Their closer is that herky-jerky submarining right-hander Steve Cishek.
Look at all the fastballs, 77%.
2-2 pitch. He got him on a swing and a miss. 81 off speed. And for Strasburg, amazingly, only his 3rd strikeout today. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Yeah, curveball right here. You see the 96 in the corner. That was the previous pitch. So as a hitter, you see one pitch 96, the next one 81, 15 miles an hour difference. And that's the result. Well, the 81 broke off the table.
He has overpowered Giancarlo Stanton for a couple of routine fly balls. That's not routine. Into the corner. Bryce Harper to retrieve a 1-out Giancarlo Stanton double. And the Marlins end a streak of 19 consecutive hitters retired.
A good swing right here by Giancarlo Stanton. Got a curveball up in the zone, caught it out front. And anytime he hits the ball on the ground, it's a good thing.
Placido Polanco, 2 ground balls, 1 a hot shot to Ryan Zimmerman. Ryan robbed him of an RBI in the first inning, and that's a high fastball in the zone. When Logan Morrison comes back from his knee problems, he will probably be the Marlins cleanup hitter.
Hitting a 4-hole 7 times in his career. This the 8th. Said he couldn't remember the other 7 times. That's a sign of a nice long career, but I think what the Marlins are trying to do is get somebody that can make contact behind Stanton.
16th year in the big leagues for Placido Polanco, who came up with the Cardinals in '98.
Tough guy to strike out.
Career contact 87% of the time. I remember when he got called up, the late baseball guru George Kissel, one of the most knowledgeable baseball men ever, who ran St. Louis's minor league system in terms of teaching kids how to play. He said this young man had the best knowledge of the strike zone he'd ever seen in a young player.
Well, his first big league game.
Desmond off his glove. Ball came up on Ian. It'll be 1st and 3rd. 1 out.
His first big league game. Hit 9th behind the pitcher. Tony La Russa put the pitcher in the 8th hole. Placido Polanco batted 9th, so you see how far his career has come. He's hitting 4th here, and Ian Desmond going up the middle. Maybe that ball shot on him a little bit. A lot of topspin created off the bat of Polanco.
And they give Polanco a hit on that.
They're in business here in the 7th. Runners at the corners, 1 out.
Rob Brantley, the catcher. Fly ball left field. It is Stanton. It is Harper. He's going back. Now they've got a runner hung up between 1st and 2nd. That'll at least make the throw over there. Now the throw home. Double play.
I don't think anybody's going to run on Bryce Harper. Check out the arm strength throw, right on the money. Stanton wisely stays at 3rd. A little run down at 1st. We got an old-fashioned pickle. Then Danny Espinosa with an absolute cannon to home, getting Stanton flashing some leather. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, because that's how you score that last play. And we're going to show it to you one more time. I left out a few digits right there. Check out the arm strength right here. Don't run on me. Right on the money to Wilson Ramos. Just a perfect throw down the line. Then you got an old-fashioned pickle right here. And you're seeing the strong arms of the Nationals. Danny Espinosa with an absolute rocket to Wilson Ramos. And give Wilson Ramos some credit on the backside, too. Big man like Giancarlo Stanton coming down the line. He hung in there tough. He could have got blown up right there coming back from knee surgery. Didn't shy away. Made a nice tag on Stanton.
Ricky Nolasco goes 6, gives the Nats 2 runs, 3 hits. And veteran Chad Qualls will take over here. Chad Qualls with the Phillies last year. 35 games, a 1-1 record with a 4.60 ERA. 8 games with the Yankees and a 6.14 earned run average.
They're going a little aha right here. Let's see if Nats fans remembered how to sing or remembered how not to sing.
I think they remember.
Love it.
That one's for you, Michael Morse, wherever you are.
You're a young franchise starting your 9th year in the city. You need traditions, and I think that's one that developed throughout the course of last year that needs to stay.
Michael Morse, by the way, is in Oakland to take on the A's tonight with his Mariners. Don't forget about MLB celebrating 11 years of MLB.TV. Join the millions and subscribe today. Every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality. MLB.TV. Baseball everywhere. They're going to do it again.
Very cool.
On to the bottom of the 7th. So Ricky Nolasco, not a bad outing on his part. His problem was Bryce Harper. 71 pitches, 40 strikes for Nolasco. Ian Desmond 0 for 1 with a walk. Then Espinosa and Ramos in the Washington 7th. High chopper. A chance for a hit. He will beat it out.
And see the enthusiasm from Ian Desmond right there. On the board in 2013. Infield single. Chopper off the plate. He'll take it. That first one, I've said it all day, is the toughest one to get. Little traffic right there. Chad Qualls, Placido Polanco, a little collision. And I think it doesn't matter who fields this ball. Ian Desmond spelling the knock right out of the gate, showing the speed.
I know what play you're thinking about. Chad Qualls used to play for Houston, by the way. Here's Danny Espinosa.
Yeah, that would have been Matt Downs diving over somebody.
Hey, how about those Astros? Winningest team in baseball right now.
Yeah, congratulations to Bo Porter.
Way to go, Bo. Espinosa ground ball to first and a fly ball to left. Double play ball here. Echeverria turns the 1-6-3.
And this is something as a ball club you work on all spring training. The comebacker pitcher's fielding practice. Chad Qualls perfect. Right on the money. 1-6-3 double play.
Chad Tracy on deck for Steven Strasburg.
Chad on Chad coming.
If Ramos would make an out, would Strasburg come out for the 8th?
I don't think so. Tyler Clifford's locked and loaded down there in the Nats bullpen. It's a nice clean day for Steven Strasburg. 3 hits, no runs.
Little check swing. Qualls throws out Ramos. The Nats go quickly. That was a 5-pitch inning for the veteran Chad Qualls. Brought to you by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Sun in and out on this opening day, April 1st at Nationals Park. Outstanding day for baseball. And our game summary brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Arlington and Mercedes-Benz of Alexandria. It's all about the hitting of Bryce Harper and the pitching of Stephen Strasburg, who's done, by the way. Harper 2 for 3, 2 solo shots. Strasburg 7 of the strongest innings on 80 pitches, by the way, up Pete, low pitch count.
Yeah, just 3 strikeouts for Stephen Strasburg today. I bet you if you told him before the game you're going to go 7 shutout innings, but only have 3 strikeouts, he'd take it. Went deep into the ball game. The command was great all day long. Stayed down in the zone. Was able to harness that adrenaline, those emotions that get to players a lot of times on opening day. Stephen Strasburg, 80 pitches, 52 first strikes, was fantastic. Did a nice job with the bat, too. A couple big sacrifice bunts.
UPS Store brings you the call to the bullpen. We love logistics. Tyler Clippard, by the way, the longest tenured member of the Nationals bullpen now. They'll face Donovan Solano, Casey Kochman, Danny Echeverria here in the top of the 8th.
Yeah, 4-pitch guy, fastball, cutter, curveball, change. Threw the changeup last year almost 36% of the time, average 80 miles an hour. 2011 threw it 27% of the time, so a big increase in the off speed for Clippard, but the fastball last year averaging 93 miles an hour.
High fastball, 2-0.
Well, this is how Davey Johnson drew it up. A 2-0 lead. You got the big bullpen. You want to shorten games because of your pen, but you got 7 out of your starter, and you got to make it work.
3-0. Strasburg didn't walk a batter all day. Stephen, 3 strikeouts, no runs on 3 hits in 7 outstanding innings. Clippard gets over the top of that one and gets it in there. Stephen Strasburg, by the way, retired 20 of his last 22 hitters.
Is that good?
That is excellent. And the double play in there. A little high. First walk of the day given to the Marlins. Casey Kochman will be next. Experienced left-handed batter. Now in his 10th year. .229, but 55 RBIs with Cleveland last year in 122 games. Clippard now.
It's a good trip right here by Wilson Ramos. Fastball's up. Going to go out there, tighten him up a little bit.
Yep,
trying to find that release point. We talked about it earlier in the game. Adrenaline has a tendency to mess with your mechanics as a pitcher. I thought Stephen Strasburg did a great job of harnessing that adrenaline. And right now, Tyler Clippard trying to do the same.
Kochman 0 for 2 today with a couple of ground balls. And a pop-up to the right side, but drifting out of play. Casey Kochman, interesting background. He was actually signed by the Angels by his dad, Tom. Longtime scout who signed a lot of their good young players. Again this year, Toyota K's for Kids, the D.C. area Toyota dealers helping children and their families by making a donation of $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season. Stephen Strasburg, number 37, $37 for every K. Changeup is in the dirt, 2-1. Solano has walked. He's at first. Casey Kochman, if you can get a ground ball, a double play guy, but Tyler really more of a strikeout fly ball pitcher. Rourke plays the left-hander, relatively shallow and right. Look at that changeup.
Well, that's the pitch that Tyler Clippard has made a career out of, the changeup. Look at the Mercedes-Benz pitch track. A little changeup right here, ahead in the count, behind the count, 2-1, and gets the swing through strike way out in front. Ball's not even there yet.
That is amazing.
It shows you how good the arm speed is on the changeup from Tyler Clippard.
2-2 pitch with nobody out. Long look. And he gets a pop-up. Ryan Zimmerman tracking it. Plenty of room. A big first out.
The 2-1 changeup made that 92-mile-an-hour fastball seem like about 96, 97 to Kochman.
Check out Jeep, a unique brand of freedom you'll only find in the full line of Jeep vehicles. Visit Jeep.com. Inside the numbers. So today's crowd of 45,274, number 1 all-time for a regular season game, number 2 all-time overall. Well done, Nats fans.
Love the red.
Adeiny Echeverria, the hitter. They have one left-hander in their bullpen, veteran Mike Dunn. Seen plenty of him over the years.
Harp, you always talk about strike one with any pitcher. But with Tyler Clippard, it allows him to get to all his other pitches if he can get that first pitch in for a strike. Now, as a hitter, you're at his mercy. You don't know if he's going to change up, curveball.
And you saw Greg Dobbs, one of the National League's best pinch hitters over the last few years. Dobbs hit .285 for the Marlins last year.
The fastball up to a changeup, or just go right to it.
Young hitter might be doing some guessing here. LaRoche has to go backhand to grab that seed. Oh, 2 the count. 80 on the changeup, down and in.
Went right to it.
Yep. Changeup so good, doesn't mind throwing it to right-handers.
He'll throw it to right-handers, he'll throw it to left-handers, he'll throw it to switch hitters. He'll throw it to you, he'll throw it to me. In any count, any time.
Last year, he was coming down the aisle of the plane. I got up to shake his hand a long time before he got there.
He shook your hand with a changeup grip.
He was still in row 10. Just a few sprinkles coming down. Nats defense looking for a grounder. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He did a nice job of getting to that changeup on the inner half. Caught it out in front, hit it foul, but nice piece of hitting with 2 strikes. Buy yourself another chance.
Long look and a 1-2 pitch. Fastball up. Ramos whips it to LaRoche. Solano back plenty early. By the way, a note on Steven Strasburg, matching his longest start. He's gone 7, 8 times in his career now, 5 times last year, including opening day at Wrigley Field. Swing and a miss. 80 miles an hour. Change up or breaking ball, we'll see.
A change up down the way at 80. Echeverria couldn't stay back. You saw him pull the one before that, but this one was well located down the way. Look at the location. Pull the string on that change up. Nice pitch.
Here's Greg Dobbs. I would venture to say that in those previous 7 outings of 7 innings, the pitch count was never 80 after those 7 like it was today.
Strikeouts are overrated.
No kidding.
Take a lot of work to get your pitch count up.
Greg Dobbs, 85 pinch hits career, 10 career pinch hit home runs. He's the #1 active pinch hitter in that department.
I think Nats fans and all of baseball got a glimpse at the evolution of a pitcher today in Steven Strasburg.
It'll serve him well.
It's a well-pitched game.
Really on both sides. Nothing wrong with what Ricky Nolasco did today. Just one guy got him twice. And Strasburg just superior. Now Clippert's finding his range. No balls, 2 strikes, 93. So right beyond the stroke of 3 here at Nationals Park, in front of the biggest regular season crowd ever, with Bob and FP observing from up high. The Nats are 1 strike away from getting out of this 8th inning. Target is in. Busting him in, and the barrel of the bat flies into the seats. A sliver of it. Everybody appears to be okay. Get your 2013 season plans today. Go to nationals.com/2013 and check it out. Looks like one fan might have taken part of that bat on an arm as it went by. But everybody's appearing to be okay.
It's a great 0-2 pitch from Tyler Clippert. In on his hands, fastball. You go back in there right now if you want an 0-2 count. And then go back to the changeup. And a 1-2 count, and go right to that changeup down the way right now. Either one works. Go with the change.
Oh, that was close on an 0-2 changeup. You saw the hitter with some body English, and maybe Jeff Kellogg too.
It's a veteran take right there. Tough to lay off that pitch. It was a strike for a long time.
Yeah, when you have a role like Greg Dobbs and the other great pinch hitters, Chad Tracy, you're seeing the best of the best in the last couple innings of a ball game. Tyler challenges him, and he's late for 94, but stays alive. Top of the 8th inning. Leadoff man Juan Pierre, if this goes any farther.
Inner half's open. You just have to be careful with a 2-run lead. If you're going to go in there hard with 2 strikes and off the plate.
To left. Bryce Harper started back, came in. That's it for the Marlins in the top of the 8th inning. 3 stranded. The biggest crowd for a regular season game ever loves it. Nats 2-0 into the bottom of the 8th. 21-8. Well, his quest will start here on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. Gio led the major leagues in wins. He won the Warren Spahn Award, and he's 59-40 in his career with a 3.65 ERA. He'll be facing Kevin Slowey of the Marlins. Coverage begins. Johnny and Ray, Nats Extra, 6:30. FP and I join you from the booth at 7. Gio goes to work at 7:05. 2-0 Nationals. Gio fresh off announcing our starting lineups today with Ross Detweiler. He won't be doing that Wednesday. He'll be busy.
And he'll be doing a lot better than he did on the lineups.
Mike Dunn, 60 games last year. He's a workhorse. 4.91 ERA with Miami. 44 innings, 47 strikeouts. Nats will pinch hit because it's leading off an inning Steve Lombardozzi as opposed to Chad Tracy, who bats when men are on base. Slots, tables, and dining, the ultimate triple play. Hollywood Casino. Charlestown races with our league leaders. And the Nats last year with Chad Tracy leading the way. Roger Bernardina, Tyler Moore, Steve Lombardozzi. FP, that is an amazing number. Nobody bats .290 as a team pinch hitting. That's crazy.
Now, we talked about the Goon Squad in spring training a lot and how they embrace it.
Lombardozzi, a tapper in the air. Short right center. Backpedaling for it, Donovan Solano. And there's the Nats signed free agent closer during the offseason, Rafael Soriano. A.J. Ramos for the Fish. Long inning, by the way, for Tyler Clipper. 23 pitches, 14 strikes. All that matters is that 0 he put up. Lefty for Denard Span here. He takes a fastball up and in. Denard 3 balls on the ground today, 0 for 3. Pulled all of them.
Maybe just what the doctor ordered for Denard here in his first game as a National. Pulled a couple 3 balls on the ground. Sometimes left on left, you stay back and think about going the other way.
Up the middle with a solid, clean base hit. Your point well taken, stayed on the ball, and he got all of that. Verizon Fios Exmo.
Yeah, welcome to the party, Denard Span. Welcome to D.C. First National League knock right up the middle. Stayed back, let the ball travel. You see the no stride right there, just using the hands, thinking about going the other way. Nice piece of hitting.
Jason Worth 0 for 3. So the top of the order checks in with a knock. Let's see what Jason can do with 1-on-1 out here. Spans a running threat. Denard, 17 steals with the Twins, was not healthy all year last year. At times in his career, he's been a very dangerous base stealer.
This is a good example of Jason Worth benefiting from Bryce Harper on deck, A.J. Ramos up in the Marlins bullpen. But because of Bryce Harper on deck, Redmond sticks with the left-hander to face the right-hander, Jason Worth.
Spans most steals in any year, 26 in 30 attempts back in 2010. He has 90 career steals. Works at about a 70% success rate. Another tough count for Jason Worth. They've pitched him tough. Ricky Nolasco got him 3 times. That ball gashed out to center and right at Chris Coghlan. 2 balls who couldn't have been hit any harder. And with that in mind, let's check out the day for young Mr. Harper.
Yeah, if you joined us late, you didn't miss anything. Bryce Harper, first at-bat of the year. Tater. Bryce Harper, I think this is his second at-bat. I don't know. He hit home runs his first 2 at-bats. Tater. And last time up, flew out to left field. So Bryce Harper 2 for 3 with 2 home runs.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad on the heels of that with the signal up into the seats.
I think it's an I love you to his parents.
They're so cute at that age, aren't they?
It's just neat that he got to do it in front of the home crowd, in front of his parents on opening day.
The Firestone Extra Mile Index. Most triples by rookies last year. Bryce Harper more than Mike Trout and some of the other speedy young guys around baseball. He can kind of let it fly here with 2 outs. Looking to drive the ball for an extra base hit. Fast runner, but he got jammed on that one. Now he hopes it gets out. And it won't. Reachable for Casey Kochman. Bryce 2 for 4 today. It's up to Soriano now. 3 outs to go. Top of their order due up here. Coughlin and Giancarlo Stanton will bat again. For every Nats walk this season, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield. $50 to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington, D.C. So a couple of walks and $100 so far. Take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Go for a walk. Storybook season for Soriano. Replacing number 42 Mariano Rivera with the Yankees, he had 42 saves, 68 innings, 69 strikeouts, and an ERA of 2.28.
The 2-pitch guy, fastball slider, throws the fastball 60% of the time, the slider 40% of the time. And last year, the fastball averaged 92 miles an hour.
Today's copyrighted broadcast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Bryce 2 homers. Strasburg 7 brilliant innings. Clippard setting it up. And now Soriano trying to close it. 132 career saves. First pitch strike, 91 to Juan Pierre. Juan Pierre 2 for 7 career against Soriano. Broken bat, fly ball, Jason Worth. Come and join us Wednesday night, 4 o'clock game Thursday. Short homestand to open the season. And the Nats will be back home next week. Yeah, kind of crazy. A week from Tuesday, the White Sox for 3, the Braves for 3. Interleague every day of the year for somebody.
Huge out right here with Stanton on deck.
Chris Coughlin, the hitter. 0 for 1 career with a strikeout against Soriano, who works from the extreme third base end of that pitching rubber. .33 years of age, listed at 6'1", 210. Well, he is so free and easy, just very relaxed into that delivery of his.
And the ball jumps.
So as a hitter, does that lull you a little?
A little bit. Slow motion. Come at you nice and easy, and all of a sudden the ball's on you. You make 91 play a little bit faster.
Right on the inside corner.
Now fastball away for strike one, moving the ball around nicely. And how about the fastball in on the corner for strike two? Good command.
He got him. Check swing. Might have been a called strike anyway. 2 outs.
Outside, inside, outside. Veteran pitcher moving the ball around. Pinpoint command from Soriano. First pitch strike on the outer half. Second pitch fastball for a strike on the inner half. A third pitch see you later looking on the outer half. And now you can throw the ball right down the middle as Giancarlo Stanton. 2-run game, doesn't matter.
Stanton 0 for 2 career with a strikeout and a pop-up against Soriano. Looking forward to some of our weekend games this year. We welcome WUSA to the Nats family. Check them out at WUSA9.com. 1 ball, no strikes. On the outer half, counts even.
Oh, we didn't get to see a lot of Soriano in spring training, but watched him with the Yankees, and so far here today, very impressed with the location and the command.
That's a good-looking breaking ball, strike 2. Game over. 2 hours and 10 minutes. The Nats, a textbook opening day shutout win.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind is scripted. The big stars showed up today. None other bigger than Bryce Harper. 2 home runs. Steven Strasburg, unbelievable. The bullpen as advertised, and the Nats 1-0. A nice opening day home win for the Washington Nationals.
Soriano, his 133rd career save. Bryce Harper off to a very impressive start. And Steven Strasburg gets his 22nd career win. It all adds up to a Nationals shutout on opening day. How could have possibly gone any better? Final words from Nationals Park before Nats